You're sitting in your car after what seemed like a completely ordinary day. Someone made a small comment at work. A friend canceled plans. A touching scene appeared in a movie. Before you even understand what's happening, your eyes begin to fill with tears. You try to blink them away, but they keep coming. Meanwhile, the people around you seem perfectly composed. You wonder why your emotions always seem to arrive faster than everyone else's. Maybe you've heard people tell you that you're too sensitive, too emotional, or that you need thicker skin. After hearing those messages enough times, it's easy to believe something is wrong with you. But what if those tears aren't evidence of weakness? What if they're revealing how your brain naturally processes emotion? What you're experiencing is more common than you think. And once you understand the psychology behind crying easily, you may never look at your emotions the same way again. Many people assume crying is simply an emotional overflow. Psychologists describe tears as part of your brain's natural emotional regulation system. Your brain constantly scans the world, interprets social cues, and evaluates emotional importance. When emotional information builds up, crying can become one way. Your nervous system releases that pressure. Think of it less as a system failure and more like a pressure valve. Instead of breaking, your brain is trying to restore balance. One reason some people cry more easily is emotional sensitivity. That doesn't mean they have stronger emotions. It means their brains notice emotional details that others barely register. A change in someone's voice, a disappointed expression, a memory triggered unexpectedly. These small signals carry more emotional weight. Neuroscientists have found that the brain networks involved in empathy differ from person to person. Some people naturally experience stronger emotional resonance. When they see someone else hurting or celebrating, their own brain responds more intensely. The stronger this resonance becomes, the more easily tears can appear. Another important piece is your nervous system. When your brain detects emotional significance, your body often reacts before your conscious thoughts do. Your breathing changes. Your muscles tighten. Your heartbeat shifts. Your eyes may fill with tears before you've fully understood why. Your body often recognizes emotional truth before your inner voice explains it. There's another misconception worth challenging. People often believe crying easily means poor emotional control. Current evidence sometimes suggests the opposite. Many people who cry easily are highly aware of their emotions. Rather than suppressing every feeling, they allow emotions to move naturally. That doesn't mean every situation requires tears. But crying itself is not proof of weakness. Childhood experiences shape this pattern too. Our brains learn emotional habits early in life. Some people learn to express emotions openly. Others learn to suppress them. Both are adaptations, not permanent identities. Personality matters as well. People high in openness to experience often feel beauty, relationships, and meaningful moments more deeply. A powerful song, an act of kindness, an emotional conversation. These experiences can trigger tears because they feel deeply meaningful. Your brain also doesn't separate joyful and painful emotions as neatly as we imagine. People cry during weddings, reunions, graduations, and major achievements. The common factor isn't sadness. It's emotional intensity. So perhaps the better question isn't, why do I cry so much? It's, what is my emotional system trying to tell me? Imagine your emotional system as a highly sensitive smoke alarm. It notices subtle emotional changes before most people do. Sometimes it activates earlier than everyone else's. But its purpose isn't embarrassment. Its purpose is awareness. Sensitivity is information. Fragility is the inability to recover. Those are very different things. Some of the strongest people you'll ever meet also cry easily. Their tears don't stop them from moving forward. They simply refuse to disconnect from what they genuinely feel. Instead of asking how to stop crying, ask what your tears are pointing toward. Sometimes they're signaling grief. Sometimes relief. Sometimes disappointment. Sometimes gratitude. The tears are often less about the event and more about the meaning behind it. One practical way to understand this is the PAUSE framework. First, pause. Instead of criticizing yourself, simply notice that emotion is present. Allow your nervous system a moment to settle. Next, acknowledge. Name what you're actually feeling. Research shows that labeling emotions helps the brain regulate them more effectively. Then, understand. Ask yourself why this moment feels so important. Often your tears are carrying more than one story. Next comes separate. Your emotions deserve attention, but they don't always require immediate action. Creating space between emotion and action leads to wiser choices. Finally, engage. Once you've understood what your emotions are communicating, respond intentionally. Maybe you need a conversation. Maybe you need rest. Maybe you simply need a few quiet minutes before moving forward. The goal isn't eliminating emotion. It's learning to work with it. Imagine someone named Emily. She cries whenever she receives difficult feedback at work. For years, she believes she's simply unprofessional. Eventually, she learns about emotional sensitivity and starts using the PAUSE framework. Instead of fighting her emotions, she notices them and becomes curious. Later, she realizes the criticism reminded her of childhood moments when mistakes never felt safe. Suddenly, her tears make sense. They're connected, not random. She still feels deeply, but she no longer feels ashamed because she understands what her emotions are saying. Your body often speaks before your thoughts. A tight throat, warm cheeks, a heavy chest. These sensations aren't interruptions. They're messages. Learning to recognize them early helps replace self-judgment with curiosity. Perhaps the biggest misunderstanding about crying is believing emotional expression and emotional strength cannot exist together. But resilience isn't measured by how little you feel. It's measured by how well you recover and continue after feeling those emotions. Suppressing tears may sometimes be necessary. Constantly suppressing them doesn't erase emotion. It simply places a heavier burden on your nervous system. If you've always cried more easily than the people around you, it doesn't automatically mean you're overly emotional. It may simply mean your brain processes emotional information more deeply. That's not a flaw. It's one way human minds are designed. So the next time tears appear unexpectedly, replace self-criticism with one simple question. What is my mind trying to tell me right now? You may discover your tears aren't evidence that you're falling apart. They're evidence that your emotional system is paying attention. Understanding yourself doesn't begin by eliminating emotion. It begins by learning its language. Sometimes, the people who cry the easiest aren't the weakest people in the room. They're simply the ones who notice what matters most. If today's video helped you understand your mind a little better, subscribe to Mind Decoded for more psychology and neuroscience explained in a practical human way.